Hey guys, I got another tutorial for you all today. Do you have a Windows 10 64-bit desktop computer with an external USB Wi-Fi adapter? Does your Wi-Fi adapter seem to frequently stop working throughout the day, every day? Well, I may have the solution for you, because I had been dealing with a similar problem, maybe the same problem, that you are dealing with now. I'm going to start off this video by reading this text file that I have up on my screen. If you don't feel like staying for this part, feel free to skip ahead to the next part. I have included timestamps in the description below. Here's what I have written. For the past couple of years, I have been experiencing a problem with my desktop computer and my USB Wi-Fi adapter. My desktop has no internal Wi-Fi card. At random times during the day, I run into this issue at least once every single day. My Wi-Fi adapter will suddenly stop working, meaning my computer no longer recognizes that the Wi-Fi adapter is plugged in. Sometimes the adapter will quote-unquote reconnect itself automatically, while other times it will remain quote-unquote disconnected until I either restart the computer or switch USB ports. I also get a device disconnect sound like this every time I shut down my computer. I tried replacing my USB adapter with a different USB adapter, different brand. However, the problem persists. Here are some other things I try doing. I'm not going to go over these things, I'm just going to list them. So if you've already tried doing these things, then we can move on to the solution that I'm going to mention at the end of the video. Here are some of the things I try doing. Resetting network settings in Settings, running Network Troubleshooter, updating/uninstalling the network driver from Device Manager, installing latest version from the manufacturer's website, manufacturer meaning the manufacturer of the network adapter, running SFC Scan Now and DISM online cleanup image restore health. I tried running those two commands in command prompt, switching USB ports, flushing DNS, and resetting TCP/IP, and disabling power management allow the computer to turn off this device in Device Manager. So if you've already tried doing these things, great, we can move on to the next step, which I'm going to show you. And then I list the things that I had done to address other issues, not necessarily to address this particular issue. I have also reinstalled Windows a few times. A few months ago, I had a new motherboard installed in my computer, and before then, I had upgraded my HDD or hard disk drive to an SSC, which is a solid-state drive. Solid-state drives are a lot faster than hard disk drives. The problem occurred with both motherboards and both drives, HDD and SSD. And here are some more details which I'm not going to read. The reason why I created this text file is because I contacted Microsoft so many times that I decided, you know what, rather than typing everything related to my problem every time I contact Microsoft, wouldn't it be a lot easier if I could just copy and paste everything? So that's what I did. I created this text file, and this is what we're reading right now. Alright, so moving on to the solution. This is an introduction to the solution. Feel free to skip right to the actual solution. So, how did I discover the solution? I didn't discover it on the internet. I didn't read articles or forums or whatever. The last time I contacted Microsoft, the Microsoft agent mentioned that, you know what, this sounds like it's a problem with your chipset, the chipset on your motherboard. And so I thought, oh great, am I going to have to install a new motherboard? And then the guy said, well, when you install a new motherboard, you would want to get one with the same exact chipset, otherwise you run into compatibility issues. So I thought, oh great, now I'm going to have to install a new motherboard and also get components that are compatible with that chipset. But actually, the Microsoft agent recommended, if I want to avoid this problem, rather than going through all this mess, spending money on a new motherboard, spending money on other components, I can simply get an internal Wi-Fi card. Now I don't know why, but for some reason the Wi-Fi card is able to bypass the issue with the chipset. So I don't have to worry about, the chipset. What matters is when I get an internal Wi-Fi card, I don't have to worry about any of that. So that's what I did. A few minutes after I contacted Microsoft, I went straight ahead and ordered myself this internal Wi-Fi card. And I'm mentioning this one in particular because it's Intel. And as the guy mentioned, Intel is the best kind of Wi-Fi card you can get because it is very compatible with lots of motherboards, lots of computer components. I believe that's what the guy said. And this is the Wi-Fi card I recommend for you. If you tried all of these methods right here, and if you also tried reinstalling Windows, and you're still dealing with the same exact issue, I highly recommend you get this particular Wi-Fi card. And, in my opinion, this is very fast, 2400 megabytes per second. Well, at least it's a lot faster than the previous USB Wi-Fi adapter that I had. So, in my opinion, this is a very good Wi-Fi card. So, I highly recommend you get this. However, this is another complication that you will need to consider. A day after I purchased or ordered this internal card on Amazon, I noticed one small issue, or one major issue, depending on how you look at it. As you can see in this picture, this is a picture of the PCIe X1 port into which I would install the Wi-Fi card. And this is the same thing from a different angle. This right here in the middle of my screen is the port. The problem is it is blocked by the GPU fan. You may or may not be able to tell by looking at this picture, but there's very little room to insert the Wi-Fi card. In fact, there's no room at all to insert just the Wi-Fi card into this slot. So as soon as I noticed this, I started to freak out, kind of, and I thought, oh great, now I'm gonna have to return this Wi-Fi card, and I'm gonna have to consider getting a new motherboard, getting new components that are compatible with the chipset. However, I did find a workaround. I did find a way around this issue. I came across this handy dandy cable right here. This is an extension cable, and it specifically says saving your blocked PCIe slot. So this cable is just small enough, in my case, to squeeze right in between the motherboard and the GPU fan. As it turned out, it's perfect. This is exactly what I needed. So what you would do is insert this part of the cable into the slot in the motherboard. This would go right in between the motherboard and the GPU fan. So now I'm going to tell you how you can install this Wi-Fi card. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to install the wireless card. The first thing you want to do, of course, is turn off the computer because you do not want it running when you're installing it. The next thing you may want to do is turn the computer over on its side so it's easier to work with. Next, remove the side panel. There should be 2 screws holding the side panel in place. Make sure you're removing the side panel that allows you to get inside and work with the motherboard. Once you've got that done, what you want to do is you want to get yourself a wrist strap. Now, you don't have to do this, but I highly recommend you do, because when you're working inside the computer, you have an electric current flowing through your body. I don't know the exact science behind it, but it's possible that the electric current flowing through your body, your fingertips, that electric current might be dangerous or pose a problem for the computer components. And the wrist strap would help keep you grounded. So once you got this anti-static wrist strap, you want to locate the PCIe port. Now, as I showed you in the photo that I had up on my computer, my PCI port is right there where that blue cable is plugged into. And to the right of it is the graphics card. That's this component right here. I tried to insert this extension cable with the graphics card plugged in. Unfortunately, there was just simply not enough room to plug it in. So what I had to do was I had to actually remove the screw that is holding the graphics card in place. That's this screw right here. I removed that screw, and once I did so, I tried to pull up on the graphics card after I did that, but then I realized that there's actually a lever. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me zoom in real quick. There is a lever that is also holding the graphics card in place. You want to push down on this lever, and at the same time you want to pull up on the graphics card. You don't want to use too much force, but just enough force to get the graphics card up and out of the slot. Once you remove the graphics card from the motherboard, what you want to do is install the extension cord, because now you should have plenty of space to install the extension cable. So once you get that installed, you want to reinstall the graphics card, and once you have the graphics card installed, you want to move the other end of the extension cable to an open spot in your motherboard, and you want to move the end of the extension cable to where you're going to install the Wi-Fi card. So there are these, I think they're called expansion slots. You want to try and find an expansion slot where you want to install the Wi-Fi card, and once you choose one, you want to pull this end of the slot so that you bend the metal right here to the right. So once you pull this little tab here, you should try and bend it back and forth to the right and to the left until that piece breaks off. So there's just a hole or a gap where that slot was. So next, what you want to do is you want to get this extension cable in place right next to that slot. What you should do before you plug the Wi-Fi card into the extension cable, the other end of the extension cable, is I recommend you plug this little Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi USB cable, into the Wi-Fi card. So one end is going into the Wi-Fi card. Let me just zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's this little slot right in the back of the Wi-Fi card. That's where you want to plug in the Wi-Fi cable. And the other end of the Wi-Fi cable is going straight into the motherboard. So that's this end right here. It's going straight into the USB port of the motherboard. And so once you do that, once you get that USB cable plugged into the Wi-Fi card, you want to plug the Wi-Fi card into the other end of the extension cable. Once you get that plugged in, you want to secure this plate, the plate that is replacing the extension slot that you broke off. You want to attach this plate to the side of the computer, and you want the package should come with a screw. So you just want to use that screw to secure this plate. Hey everyone, this is Jordan Lewin. I go by the name MyHitty. I just wanted to add one more thing. You'll also want to install two antennas or antennae to the back of the computer where you installed the plate or the Wi-Fi card. And you can just screw those antennas in place and you should be good to go. You will also want to install some driver software. The Wi-Fi card should come with a CD or one of those small CDs, and you just stick that in your DVD drive and install the software from there. And you should be good to go once you get that driver installed. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to uploading more videos, whatever my next one might be, in the future.